Can tech companies be held accountable for how we think their products work? Today, we're talking about a case that has many people asking hard questions about technology, responsibility, and what it really means when a product is marketed as safe. It's a heartbreaking case and one that could have major implications for tech accountability. The personal injury firm of Ashton and Price is here to share their thoughts on what consumers need to understand about emerging technologies, specifically on the road. Let's welcome attorney Craig Ashton. Hello, Craig. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. Okay. So, Craig, can you elaborate on the lawsuit pertaining specifically to Tesla's Autopilot feature and the crash that took place, taking the life of a 15-year-old, unfortunately?
Really unusual seminal case happening in Alameda County. So ultimately, Tesla advertises as full self-driving. I know about this because I've had Tesla cars going back to 2016. So essentially what it does is lead you to believe that it's safer than a human when you put it in full self-driving. So this accident happened where this family was coming back from a soccer tournament, and they were basically stopped in traffic, and the driver of the Tesla had it in full self-driving. He indicated that he was relying upon the technology to say it's safer than a human being, and accelerated at 70 miles an hour, hit the car rolled, and unfortunately a 15-year-old was killed. Which makes this case very unusual is that because the family that suffered the loss of the death of their child, they didn't own the car, and it wasn't a safety feature that impacted them. I mean, we're all familiar with if your airbag doesn't deploy, it's your car, and if you have worse injuries with the airbag not deploying, you can sue for products liability. This is an unusual case where it's a person that doesn't have a contract with Tesla, doesn't drive the Tesla, but was injured by a Tesla safety feature, and they're trying to hold Tesla responsible for the death of their child.
And what is the Tesla driver saying caused the accident?
So this is where it doesn't work. So there's only one car that's full self-driving right now. It's the Waymo vehicle in San Francisco, where if you go there, you can look, it's got spinning around, I'll take you to the airport. But every other car that says full self-driving is basically just puffery. In other words, it's an exaggeration. So it's like if you have put your car in cruise control and you rear end somebody in the freeway and say, it's not my fault, it's in cruise control, it doesn't work that way. So you're still responsible for the car. So in this particular case, the driver's saying, it's not me, it's Tesla. And the family's saying he relied on the fact that it was safer than a human being. Therefore, that misrepresentation to him extends to our family, and we can sue Tesla for the negligent misrepresentation. And if they can determine that they had no sincere basis to make that statement, they can sue them for punitive damages, which is huge.
Okay, so I mean, it sounds tricky, and with your legal background, who's at fault here?
It is definitely tricky. So for sure, the driver of the Tesla is at fault. You do not get to say, it's in full self-driving, I bear no responsibility. The only way that works is if you're in a Waymo in the back seat, you can drink a beer, not a problem, it's not drunk driving, you have no responsibility. In this case, the primary causative factor is the driver. But because Tesla may have misrepresented to this individual who relied upon this safety feature that it's safer than a human, and this 15-year-old died as a result, then Tesla could also be held responsible. Elon Musk is not popular right now. So an Alameda jury could say, you know what? This is more than just exaggeration. This is a safety feature that you knew was not as safe as a human driver, and we want to hold you responsible, richest man in the world. So how about $200 billion? That might stop you from doing this again.
And has anyone on behalf of Tesla responded to the lawsuit?
Yes, they're in litigation, and what happened was that a judge determined as a matter of law, this case can move forward, so it will not get dismissed. And Tesla said you should dismiss it because we don't have any relationship with the family that lost their son. Unfortunately, they died, but we only have a relationship with the owner of the Tesla. The judge said, nope, jury gets to determine that, whether or not Tesla's responsible and whether or not punitive damages can apply to Tesla and to Elon Musk.
Wow. Okay. Autopilot driving, I mean, it's a feature on other cars, cruise control in addition to Tesla. So what do drivers need to consider when using these type of features, Craig?
What you always have to know is that if something bad happens, it's on you. You can't say, my car did it. It doesn't work that way. So it is a nice kind of cruise control plus where you can stay in your own lane, keep a certain distance behind cars, but if it doesn't work, it's on you, and you don't get to blame it on the car. No way.
All right, important to know before hopping on the road. Any final takeaways, Craig?
Yeah, this is a seminal case. This is the first time that you really would see a products liability case essentially extend to somebody who didn't buy the car.
Yeah.
So pay attention, it's happening in Alameda.
All right, good to know, Craig. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to let our viewers know where they can go for more information. For legal advice, head to ashtonandprice.com or call the number you see on the screen, 916-786-7787.